Hi everyone, welcome to Kats Creations Live on Friday night. Today is our last Friday night live for 2021. So we are going to be doing a rustic Valentine's Day wreath. I'm flying solo today, so I'm kind of having to do it all. Answer comments as quickly as I can, orchestrate the wreath, and then try to provide you guys with the best view possible. So before we get started, if you like this tutorial, the sign is from ThreeBirdsNestCo, C-O, so 3, the number spelled out, Bird's Nest Co. on Etsy. She has a lot of really great Valentine's Day signs, and the reason that I chose to do this one is it's not necessarily a Valentine's Day sign. It could be a wedding welcome, it could be a farmhouse welcome, and it just happens to have the hearts and the bows. So we're going a little bit rustic. We are using a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. Let me make sure I can get you guys pulled up. Should be able to see this, and I can. So thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys have been watching the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway, which is randomly sometime throughout the day I will post the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. If you click on that post, it'll give you the specific time to tune in and participate in the giveaway. Today we just gave away a wreath kit from Pinky Jeb Designs on Etsy, and then tomorrow's is only going to get better, and then obviously the last day is going to be awesome. But if you want to get notified when those happen, do me a favor and hit the like and follow button down below. Now, if you're on YouTube, there's not much you can do, but if you want to participate in the Facebook giveaway, just go over to my Facebook page, which is Kats Creations Wreaths, and you can also look for the same post and then participate in the giveaway as well. This is a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. We are simply going to wire together the last section of the 6. So I'm going to get my pipe cleaners, and it's all done the exact same way, which is on a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame, you have 4 rings that comprise the wreath ring frame, I guess. And then you have weld marks that separate that into sections. What we're going to do is we're going to take one pipe cleaner, and if you use the weld marks and find a middle point in that section, taking the 2 innermost rings together and wire those 2, that helps give stability to your pipe cleans so they don't flop all over the place. Then we're going to do the same. We're going to use this and the weld mark here and go with the outside 2, find a midway point, and just simply wire that on. And then on the opposite side, we're going to do this one. And I just color coded this based on the colors I'm using today in this design. So just like that, that gives you 12 to the outside, 6 on the inside, for a grand total of 18. Now we are using 12-inch Deco mesh cut to 20, or not 12-inch, 20-inch, 10-inch Deco mesh cut to 20-inch pieces. I'm seeing it in my head, but it's coming out completely opposite. And we're going to ruffle this to give it kind of that flat, but I don't know why my cats are being so talkative today. It's going to give it a more rustic look. Now this Deco mesh, it's not actually a Deco mesh, it's more like of a jute burlap mesh. It's from Crinkle Designs. Crinkle Designs happens to have their own website. I might even have Steve participating. He's actually in Oklahoma right now, visiting our youngest daughter. So he said he was going to pop in for a little bit. I don't know if he was able to do that or not. So he may grab your questions, but obviously I wouldn't know what they are unless I'm reading them. I see Forrest is watching. So hi Forrest, hi Steve, and he is. So they're participating for a little bit before they head out. So feel free to ask me anything that you would like. This particular type of Deco mesh has to be cut with just your rotary cutter because this contains natural fibers. It's not an actual burlap. It's a jute, which is an imitation burlap, but it does have the metallic foils in it. So that's going to kind of give it some sparkle and actually some volume. And as I'm laying these in, if you notice, I am just running it right down this middle white line. I'm just gathering it here in little increments, kind of like folding it. It turns it into a little bit of a bow tie, but then you have your finished edges here, finished edges to the bottom, and that's going to go to the inside, facing inside, and also facing the bottom. And just make sure that you've got that pretty much centered on your pipe cleaner. As you can tell, I started to remove the inside ones already with this particular design that I have in mind, along with a bow and the way that that side's positioned. It's not going to leave us a ton of room to go ahead and, you know, add a ton of stuff to the inside. Oh, no worries, Rudy. Well, you found me now, right? Hi, Kaylee. Okay. So the only thing that you can do to prevent fraying in a natural jute burlap is when you are finished, because it takes 24 hours to dry, is spray your entire surface, paying close attention to the cut edges because that's where it's going to fray, with an E6000 adhesive spray. That will help lock the fibers in. It doesn't prevent it, like it doesn't eliminate the fraying from happening. It just kind of gives it a little bit of extra adhesive to kind of hold things in place. But if you were to grab hold of, say, a loose thread and give it a pull, you could pull it out. It's just to help it naturally to be able to retain its shape. And I love Valentine's Day. I love doing the rustic look. So we're going to try to finish that up, I think, through the weekend. We're going to do a rag wreath, I think, for Sunday evening, a rustic rag wreath. And then in the private group, I haven't quite decided where we're headed. So this will give me a jump start on Valentine's Day, which, if you're a wreath maker and you want to know what should you be working on right now, it should be winter, New Year's. Oh, I'm trying to think of anything. There's no real holidays in January except New Year's, and then Valentine's Day. Because people are going to start shopping for Valentine's Day right after the first of the year. So it's always good to have a wide variety in your shop. You know, something rustic, something a little bit more contemporary. Various price points help quite a bit. And I, for one, am looking forward to the fact that our shipping rates should start to go down after December 26th. So that should be a bonus. However, now we're going to all run into price increases because the Postal Service and everybody else always does their rate increases at the end of January. So we shall see. Although some of the rumors of what I hear is that they might be bringing down the dimensional weight rate, which is what wreath makers are subjected to. It's not that our items weigh a lot, it's just that they're in overly large boxes and we're being held to the same standards of somebody else who would put heavier items in a box that large. Thank you, Anna, for sending stars. This is the last weekend that we're doing the fundraiser for the stars as well, because we have to have all the money turned in from our Facebook Stars program for, it's called Project Touch, and it's through Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills. And what it is each one of the stars that you have the option to purchase right next to your comment line, it's a little gold star. Those are equivalent to 1 cent each. So when someone sends you 100 stars, it's basically $1. And so we're taking all of the stars money that people are sending in, and we're utilizing that to support families in need for Christmas. What that does is we purchase $20 gift cards from Walmart, and then they are presented to a family in need so that they can purchase their holiday meals as well as gifts for their families who are struggling this year for Christmas. And then starting the first year, I'll let you guys know what that's going to be. Okay, there we go. So we're almost more than halfway done. I think Steve's answering your questions. So yeah, this weekend will be this is our last Friday and our last Sunday. Because you guys are going to be busy. I mean, you guys might have time available in the evening, and I will start to reshare my favorite videos from the last 4 years. Ones that did extraordinarily well, or ones that I think you might benefit from. So look for those while we're on vacation. So ending it on a big note, the giveaways and then the final lives. Also, in the private group, beginning in January, we are launching the Back to Basics program, which if you've ever considered jumping in and learning how to make wreaths, but kind of want to learn it from the basics, like what is the best Deco mesh to use? What's the difference between a snowball mesh versus a jute burlap? Should I get high foil or just a regular metallic? I don't know how to pick my ribbon colors, and I don't want to spend a lot of money coming up with a bunch of stuff that just doesn't work. I'm not sure what frame to use. I've never done a grapevine. I've never done an evergreen. I've never done a hoop. All of that stuff is what we break down at the very beginning, and those will be our tutorials for about the first 6 weeks in January. So it's a really good refresher because we're always adding new products, new Deco mesh, new frame types. So it gives us an opportunity to discuss those. We also give you what's called the basic Deco mesh inventory, which is something you should keep all the time. So you should always have a certain number of Deco mesh rolls in your inventory at all times. So it's always a great place to start. And we try to find the best deals for you on the right products so that you're dealing with good quality products at the beginning and not struggling with sub-quality, thin, it's just not doing what you showed us it should have done. So you can check that out on my website at KatsCreationsNMore.com. If you guys like this design and want to replicate it, once you order all the same materials or somewhat close, just click the share button down below, and that'll go ahead and share this video to your page where it's so much easier to find. I think I have 4 left. So as you can see, as I'm laying these in, I'm pulling the pipe cleaners that are on the outside edges towards the front so it's easier for me to find them. Make sure I got all of your questions. Charlotte says, is there a video of you fixing up your large wreath for over your garage? Yes. I believe that was actually in the public group. So if you want to look for that on my YouTube channel, it's at KatsCreations777 on YouTube. And it's actually a wreath redo. So it's where we did kind of like a makeover from a standard stock wreath and just kind of elevated it to match the theme that we did on the outside. But absolutely, that is there. So great question. Making sure, trying to keep up on these. I wish the comments actually sat on a dark background. It's like hard to see them transparent through the video. 2 more. I love this wreath, or this burlap mesh, because I love combining a little bit of the contemporary with the metallic foils with the burlap. So it's going to create a very full but rustic looking wreath. And then got the last one over here to squeeze in. Are you guys all finished with your Christmas shopping? Let me date this video as well, because sometimes people will watch this like in the middle of next year, just randomly. So this is from Friday, December the 10th of the year 2021, just in case you guys are watching. Okay, we are all set. There is our mesh base right there. Trying not to touch my phone so I don't zoom out accidentally. So now we're going to go ahead and add in our ribbon tails and half bows. So I have, pull these apart, separate these. There's that. We're going to do a solid burgundy, which kind of keeps with the theme in our sign. And then we're also going to pop the glitter on the, this is just a natural canvas. It's not a burlap. These are both from, let me make sure, Craft Outlet for the burgundy. They're both from Craft Outlet, both cut to 14-inch pieces. They're already dovetailed, and we're just going to alternate these as we go around the wreath. So I'm just going to start on one side, and then we are going to fan them on the outside. So once you do that, it kind of creates a way for your eye to be drawn out from the center outward. So that's what our look is that we're attempting to achieve. So I'm going to use burgundy in all the red pipe planer spaces and the natural in all of our beige pipe planer spaces. Right, Linda? It does look extraordinarily full. So that's showing you, I mean, there's people who do ruffles that are about 15-inch pieces. If you have really nice thick deco mesh, you can try to get away with that. But then what that ends up doing is it leaves you with leftovers on the roll. So I found the best way to be, I guess, planning my deco mesh methods the best. I hated having leftover rolls. It's like not enough to start another design, not really enough to kind of go halfies with something else. It kind of leaves you with like maybe a third, if not less, on a roll. And that just takes up space in our craft room. And odds are if you have something like this, it's very limited to where you can use it. So you might have this sitting in your inventory, sitting on a leftover roll. So I found that if you were going to do 15, you may as well stretch it out to a full 20 and just use up that entire roll. And then you don't have any leftovers. And then you have a really full product. Okay. And you can decide whichever color you prefer to lay on top of the other. I will get like more detailed in making sure that they lay flat once I get the other ribbon on top of it. So right now I'm just laying them in. No worries, Linda. She says, sorry I'm late. I just finished dinner. Totally understand. That's going to be interesting. What does one do when you eat by yourself? Do you guys ever go out to eat by yourselves? I don't like going out by myself. Prefer having somebody with me. So who knows? Some people are comfortable with that. I've never been comfortable. And I hated it when I worked in the corporate world and I had to travel. And you were always by yourself. So it was like trying to find a places to go eat. I'm not a real big, huge fan of fast food, but sometimes that's all you can do when you're not comfortable being out by yourself in a restaurant. Oh, thanks, Charlotte. She says, hang on a second. Where is it? That she's really enjoyed our giveaways and being able to see our home. So we've kind of been doing a slow version of our home tour, showing you kind of what we've done, what some of our family traditions are. So if you want to see pictures of what we've done to the house this year, you can go back and watch the replays on those. A couple more, exactly 3 more. Okay. There is a downside to the jute in that it is overly clingy, so it likes to grab on to loose edges. So I am flipping the ends down, pulling the tails down and out so they're not kind of floating up in the air. Two more, one of each color. And then we'll move on to our half bows. Then we'll create our bow for this design, add our sign, top it off with just a couple embellishments, and then we should be good to go. Okay, let's find the last one in here. There we go. And let's resort this so it's under. Sometimes it's just a matter of taking your inside ones and making sure your outside ones are truly on the outside. Flipping these around. Just like so. There we go. Now they lay better. Okay, so there is adding our tails to this design, and then we're going to add in 1.5 inches cut to 18-inch pieces. I believe the red is going on the natural and the natural is going on our burgundy, and both of these are from Craft Outlet. Let me show you how to make a half bow really quick, which is take your wired edges, bring them together. They're already dovetail cut. Some people call them fishtails. I never heard of that before. But then you're going to pinch in about 2 inches from the top, so that if you were to lay this out, it's 2 inches. We're just going to lay that right inside the pipe cleaner. We are going to give it a couple twists. We're going to open your loop. Let me zoom in a little bit. Trying to make sure you guys can see. You open up your loop. You have to always right side one part of your tail. So you have to flip it around. And then I like to style them to where you have that a little bit in the center, just like that. Now we're going to do the other one to the opposite side, exact same way. Pinch in. We're going to place this right in the center of our pipe cleaner. We're going to give it about 4 or 5 twists. Open up your loop. Right side one of your tails. And then there's that look. So I haven't decided if I want to put raffia on top of the red, which is what I'm thinking, or if I want to place it on top of the natural. I just haven't committed wholeheartedly to that, which is why I'm like thinking about this as I go around. Maybe I should try that before we move on too far. So we can just cut as we go. So let me get this one in. Just making sure I'm not missing any of your questions. Yannette said, I'm glad I got to catch your live. I finally got to watch a live. I got off work early. Awesome. Thank you. Karen says, when do you use two half bows together? Whenever you'd like. As a designer, it's entirely up to you. Sometimes I save those for more like Victorian, more elegant wreaths, or just whenever I'm kind of done with the whole, I don't feel like doing half bows anymore, or you can only really do one of them. So on the other side, you're going to have to do half bow on one and then double bows. That's what I call a double bow on the other ones. And I think I'm going to add the raffia to the red with the natural underneath so that that pops a little better. Linda says, I love the half bow. It's my signature creation. I'm not one of those people who have to have my name labeled on everything. I just felt when I would watch people doing wreaths and they would do like two bows or two ribbons, and they would layer one ribbon on top of the other, sometimes in like an X pattern. Sometimes they would do a 2.5, sometimes a 1, 1.5 on top of that. And it just felt like the inside needed something to finish it. It just, for me, looked unfinished. So, half bow, just like an awareness ribbon that is 3D. It's like a 3D awareness bow or ribbon, because that's really all it is. Patricia asked, how many ties and is the frame elevated or flat? So there are a grand total of 18 ties, 6 on the inside, 12 on the outside on a Dollar Tree frame. So it's got a slight elevation. So I can't really say it's flat because it's not really wholeheartedly flat. It does kind of bubble up in the middle like a small mound or a hill, which makes for a really nice look. Let's see what else. Rita said, do we post our Secret Santa gifts in the private group? Yes. It's entirely up to you if you choose to post, you know, who your Secret Santa was, what they gifted you with. I leave that up to the individual. You don't have to, but you are welcome to do so. Just realize that in the private group, the things that you guys post, I generally approve them. I try to do it same day. It just depends on how busy. But we had to start going back to the approval process because people were just posting all kinds of crazy stuff. So now it just gives me a chance to look at those things over before they get posted. So again, I'm just rearranging the way the mesh is laying. Okay. When is the reveal? Debbie, you mean like who you tell who you are? It's up to you. Some people want to remain completely anonymous. And other people are like, hey, they sign the name to the card or they sign the name to the gift. So I just leave that up to the individual. I'm hoping that's what you're referring to. Okay. Yes, you are. Okay. Yes. So it's up to you. You can remain a Secret Santa forever. Or you can reveal it to the individual you sent your gift to. I think we voted on that a couple of years ago because there are some people who just wanted to remain anonymous. So we just allowed everyone to do what they felt comfortable with. And again, I'm going to go ahead and snip. These are what ends up happening as you're moving your ribbons or your half tails or your bows around, trying to get them to lay in the direction you want them to lay. Oh, Deb said, I signed my gift and private messaged my Secret Santa to thank her. That's perfect. You are welcome to do that. And she said, my Secret Santa didn't sign. Yep, I'm just leaving it totally up to you. You just never know. I think I cut that one off and I didn't mean to, which means I'll be running another pipe cleaner through there. Let's see. This one was the one that I needed to cut. I needed to keep the reds. Keep the reds on, cut the beige off. So I'll show you what ends up happening if you cut your pipe cleaners off and then suddenly realize, oh, I shouldn't have done that. That's just kind of like one of those things that you learn over time. If you don't know 100% how you envision your end design to look, I always recommend keep all your pipe cleaners on and then remove them as you're working through your design. So in this case, leave all the 6 interior on. Just in case you might need one of those locations, maybe to hold an embellishment. And then if we're going to place a sign and a bow on it, you realize, oh my God, there's no room. I have to remove all the pipe cleaners. Then at that point, go in and remove them all. But it happens. Sometimes you might have a tinsel tie that comes loose on a work frame. And you're like, what do I do now? You just run another pipe cleaner up through there. Not a major issue. Okay, we're going to leave this one on. We've got one more to do. Okay, and this one around. And then I'll run that pipe cleaner up so I don't forget that I didn't do that. Okay, last one. So it was over here on this red. So I need to grab a beige pipe cleaner. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go up underneath where your original pipe cleaner was. You are just going to find where that's attached. You're going to bring that back up. Just like so. Try to even up your pipe cleaners. Go ahead and twist it. Even though that one's way too long. We will take it down a little bit. Okay. So now it looks like I didn't miss that pipe cleaner. The one that actually made the mistake of cutting way too short. So you just go back up underneath, go around your mesh, and then trim that off. So I'm going to set this to the side. We are going to create our bow. So here's our ribbons that we already have. We're also going to introduce a solid burgundy and then this red and white. It's kind of like film strip, but then it's got this really pretty lace pattern on top of that. And I'm going to use the Bodabra. Because we're doing it on a beige natural mesh, I'm going to put the burgundy down first. So let me set these ones over here. We're going to do the dovetail method, which is a finished edge for our ribbon. So we just take the wired edges. You're going to cut on the fold to your finished edge. So just like that. And then you have a perfect dovetail, ducktail, fishtail, whatever you want to call it. Just a little V. And then we're counting off 10 inches. We're going to gather, we're twisting, placing that inside our Bodabra. We are aiming for 5.5-inch loops. So I just kind of ballpark it first. I keep my Bodabra right here on the 10 so that when I stretch my ribbon out, I can see right where I'm at, which is right there's 5.5 inches. Flip it up and over. Kind of eyeball it, but then just double check. 5.5, and then we're all the way out to 10 inches. Right here, do our finished edge. And then we will put this away. Okay, we have our beige now. We're dovetailing this end. I have like pretty deep cuts on my V's. So on my finished edges, and this one's going to be 9.5 inches in, twisting. And then we're going to do 5-inch loop. So we're coming down 1/2 inch on both the tail length and the loop. So there's 5 inches. Up and over. Hope that's 5. And just a touch more right there. And then we're back out to 9.5 inches. Dovetail our end. Those ones are done. And I tried to like make sure that my twists are pretty stacked up right. Like I try to make sure that the twists are twisted to where the fabric on the top is laying flush. Just want to make sure I don't poke my finger with that. So that when you go to take them and twist them or pull your loops out, everything isn't like bunched in your loophole. So these are my color choices. So I'm taking a look at how I want those to go. Kind of want to break up the hearts with the burgundy. Like that just feels too many hearts. So I think I will. Let's go the red, the burgundy, then the tan, and then the red and white. I don't know. Let me look. I like that pairing better. So we'll go with that one. All the ribbon, by the way, is from Craft Outlet. And I have not purchased anything for Valentine's Day from this year. Or 20, I guess it would be 2021. So I have not placed any orders going into 2022. So this is all just materials that's left over from previous orders. But they always come up with new ribbons. So of course you gotta buy what you like. And I haven't started looking yet. This one is gonna be 9-inch tail with a 4.5-inch loop. Right there. A little bit in. And then back out to 9 inches. Dovetail that. Oh, thanks, Brenda. She said, I really like watching you. Everything you do is so elegant. I just kind of create the stuff that I would want to put up on my house. So things that I like, color choices that I like. I don't really go into the whole trendy thing because there's a couple things that have been trending. Leopard, I didn't get into the whole leopard look, but I know that there's a ton of people who love it. It doesn't mean I won't make it. I guess I like what I like. And who knows? I mean, leopard might be big in 2022. So this again is 4.5 inches. The ribbon tail is 8.5 inches. So the fact that these two are both the same has allowed me to kind of just put my finger in one side, give it a pull, and then all I have to do is measure the outside. Hi, Valerie. Michelle says, what? Oh, you didn't buy any. I haven't started yet. I have to start going through my inventory and taking inventory of what I have. I need to change out my ribbon wall this week and get rid of all the Christmas and the winter and put up Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, spring, Mother's Day. Cheryl said no on the leopard print either. I don't know, there's just certain things that I'm just partial to. I probably would. I mean, if I had someone who asked, can you make me a leopard print something, or sent me a picture and said I really like this, I would make it. When you start doing things, however, based on trends, this is just what I've learned in my time as a small business owner. Sometimes trendy items will sit, and they might sit in your shop. And then when they stop becoming trendy, then those items really sit. So I try to do things a little bit more every day, like Valentine's Day with red, white, and pink, or the rustic look with the beige and the burgundy. This last one was 4-inch loops with 8-inch tails, and then this final one is going to be 7.5 inch for the tails and 3.5 inch for the loops. I love this one. This is my favorite. So I think I was lucky to pick up some. Now here's the nice thing though. I think a lot of the supply chains got a lot of their spring and Valentines in the summer last year. Like well after it was over and done with, which is good because then it just means there's lots of inventory to order for 2022. Okay, make sure 3.5 and then back out to 7.5. It's very thick ribbon because that lace design is painted onto the top, so it's really thick. Okay, all done with that one. Let's get all this off. Also makes it really hard for your pin to go through. Okay. Let's slide you guys over. All right, we're done. Set this over here, grab my board. Okay, board is in place. Let's grab a red bed cleaner. Okay, we're gonna pick up the whole bunch. Just like so. That's your layers all stacked. We're going to bend, place that on top, And then I tighten it and hold it right at the base of my stack. Give it a couple good twists. We're out of the way with that. Okay. So here is my fluff board, which has been custom made. I had it handmade because I love. He had done some other woodwork for us. He did a cutting board, a really small cutting board for us. And I said, ooh, that would make a really nice fluff board to display ribbons with. So this is what it is. Yes, as painful as it was for my husband to put the C-hook in the middle, this is my bow slash presentation board. So let's fluff. First, we're going to separate, which just means separate a loop from the tail. Okay, there's that one. Loop, tail. Opposite side, we are going to take the tail and the loop. So that if you were looking at this, they would be, the loops are directly across from each other, and so are the tails. We're going to pull these ones down next. So here's my loop, here's my tail, opposite side, there's my loop, here's my tail. So now they have developed an alternating pattern. So as I go and I grab the next one and pull those down, same loop and tail, back over to the other side, loop and tail, grab the next one, follow suit, go over here, follow suit, and you can change how you might want some of your ribbon to lay. If you want this to be on this side, whatever you do on the top, just make sure you do opposite on the bottom. Otherwise it'll be difficult for you to fluff and sort. And then here's our white, and we're separating the white. And this is where I'm getting in, because this is that thick ribbon with the painted edge. So now that everything is separated, now we're going to fluff. So we are taking the white. Every time I go to grab and pull this one, it wants to flip this around. So now the red. Here's our red here, our red over here. I kind of like the burgundy off to the side a bit, like this. And I like the natural coming up through the center. And then we're going to open these ones. Okay. I'm going to go do the other side here. And then if you want to put the little angle or the arc back into your ribbon, you just run them through your fingers. And the ribbon will just start to curl again. Okay. It's a little harder to get the ones at the bottom because there's nothing for them to arc on. So just move things around to where it creates a desired look that you're happy with. And I'm good with this one. So let me flip this up so you can see. And there you guys go. Okay. This is going to come off the exact same way it went on, which is just right over my hook. Just have to make sure which way it was going. This we're done with. And now we will add our sign. So since this one is a vertical sign, it's really nice because when we add this to our wreath, we can kind of have it slightly angled, and then we have a nice big spot here for a bow. So this is where I'm going to do it, and I'm going to put one hole at the top, one hole at the bottom. These are Beadsmith metal hole punch pliers. They work just like a hole punch, only in the metal. And I prefer the 1.5 millimeter all the way up to the 2. That gives you enough space to put a pipe cleaner through. I prefer, especially when doing the jute mesh, to use floral wire, because the pipe cleaners have a tendency of getting hung up on the natural fibers, whereas the thicker wire just goes right through. Here we go. We're going to build the wire base from the back, which just means we're pulling the wire all the way through, and we're building right over our hole. This way the sign lays flat and our wire stays to the back of the sign. Doing the same thing here, right through the middle. Build back over the top. Now we will lay this just kind of like how I pictured it, a little bit to the side. I'm going to go ahead and pull back this mesh. That way I don't have to tug on it. Once I get this all situated. And I'm going to push this down to the depth where I want it to stop. And then I'm going to put a couple twists on it. And then I'm going to go back up to the top. Do the same thing. Lift it up. There we go. Oop, that was way too far. I was trying to go around 2 different rails. So we're going to kind of tuck this down. Before I do that, I'm going to pull this one up so it doesn't have to go so far. Grab this up and around. Actually went through the one I was trying to pull. Okay, there's that. Pull that out of the way. Basically down where I want it to go, but now I've got to move some of the mesh. So, let me move this. I'm taking all the mesh that is right inside the pieces I have to the outside. Just kind of feathering that. I don't want it to go too deep, but I don't want to see a perfect line of where my Deco mesh wound up. So just like that. Open our ribbon tails right here. Okay. This is what I mean by, do it right here, finishing your edges. Get this one to go in the corner. And open the back side. So this is like a feathered edge. So you don't have the straight line here where you can see, okay, that's the beginning and edge of the sign. You should have a nice little soft ruffle that helps give it a softer, more romantic look, I guess. And then I'm going to take my bow, which is the Fountain Pipe Cleaners, and we're going to place this right about here, which is kind of over a spot where I removed one of my pipe cleaners. So it's just going to take me a second to work it down. Don't want to collapse the ribbon or the bow, but I want to remove a lot of this fluff right underneath so that my bow has the opportunity to lay flat. So let me fluff it. Let me pull some of this. This is where everything is like overly clingy. Okay, we want it to have a nice flat base. As flat of a base as we can possibly get for a ruffle. Okay. Let me show you what it looks like. I think I want to pull it down just a little bit. This is why we only do a couple twists. Even though I like it there, I kind of want it to sit down a little bit further. So right in here. Pretty close, but not quite. So it's just trying to find the frame and making sure that you get your bow around at least one of the wires. Okay. Now we can refluff. Let's take this tail, pull it up a little bit. Go. Kind of want my ribbon to go where I want it to go. Sometimes you gotta manipulate it a little bit. Didn't want you on the same side. There you go. You in the middle. Middle, middle, middle. Up, up, up. Okay, let me show you what it looks like. Eeks. Let me push some of this overly crazy mesh down a bit so we can get a flatter look to our bow. Spread everybody out. Okay. Let me show you. Took a while. Shouldn't have taken that long, but there you go. So that's what it looks like. And now we're gonna add a couple last minute embellishments to this design and then we'll be all done. So I happen to have some natural raffia. So we're just gonna pull out probably about 3 for each of the 6. That one's too short. Here's another one. And you try to even them up as best as you possibly can. Okay, and then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna zigzag them back and forth. They are approximately 6 inches. And then you're gonna put these in little bundles. These little bundles are gonna get tucked in to the place where we had the red half bows. So we're just gonna twist them in. go ahead and remove our pipe cleaners. Tuck those down and under. So I'll show you what this will look like. Once everyone cooperates. I always prefer to have the cut edges down, not up. So let me show you. So there's the little raffia bundles. Raffia you can find at Hobby Lobby. I found that if I ordered them from Amazon, I got them in bigger quantities. I think I had them in six bundles. I don't know how big each bundle was, but it was more than enough to do that. Okay, remember we're doing 6 inches approximately. So I'm just going back and forth. And then we're attaching these right to our reds. Just the reds. Couple twists on our pipe cleaner. Turn those up. Sadly, we won't get a decent picture of this. It'll be on the regular door, but I always love to get it in the daylight so that you get those really nice pops of true color that even the best light can't really capture. So those will come in the morning. That one's too short too. That one's good. So as you can see, I'm just trying to even them up so that we're all starting together. Okay, back and forth. Tie your bundles in. I think it adds just the nice rustic element to this wreath. What do you guys think? Ready? Debbie says I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for winter. We have had 70-degree days, and this is just so unheard of here in California. We're just now starting to come into some potential rain, so I'm hopeful that it'll start to feel like Christmas. This around. Trying to keep them all started in the same. That's the one thing. I would love to see someone put raffia on a roll. There's an innovative idea. Raffia on a roll. Because then you can just spool it off and you don't have to worry about how is it staying in the bag. It never spools out the way you want. Anna says it's raining here. It's going to be 65 tomorrow. That's still too warm. It just seems like winter's taking a vacation. I had to get some of my ribbon tails out from under this bow. Got 1, 2 more to do, and then a couple small embellishments, and we are done. This will put this under. Oops. There we go. Try to find a bigger piece. There we go. Okay. Wrap, wrap, bundle. There's so many different cute Valentine's Day signs too, so there really is something for everybody. You know, red truck lovers, there's plenty of that out if you're a red truck fan. If you're a non-traditional and want to take chances on new colors, like, you know, pairing black with that, that is an option you have. One last bundle, guys. Don't want orange. You can totally tell I grabbed my leftover bag. This just has the leftovers. There's another one. There's another good one. Okay, we are all done. My last bundle. Tuck this right underneath. This way, no matter where they look, there's consistency everywhere. You know, your design stays the same. You have Raffia where there's Raffia in the bundles. Even though they're underneath, it's still nice to know that it's a consistent look all the way around. Okay. What do I want to do? I think I'm still going to incorporate the hearts that we have left over. I think I had a couple people ask me where did I find these. I'm trying to see how many I have. Trying to put these in the regular bundles, the ones that don't have the Raffia in there. So we're just adding a small little heart. We will add a heart to the center. I want to say Oriental Trading Company was pretty close with having these exact, or pretty close to it. I think they were a little bit bigger. So I'm just adding a touch of glue and tucking these right into the base. I'll show you. So they are right here, and there's one on the other side. Just to kind of tie that glitter all together. These go pretty quick. I'm leaving about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and then just tucking them right underneath the bundle. We have 2 more. You'd be surprised at where you can look for some great embellishments. Party City is a great one that most people don't think about going to get. Like, they could be little hearts that are used in cupcakes or party favors. So those might provide the perfect embellishment for you. And we're done. Okay, let me make sure all this is out of the way. Let's take this one down. And we'll put this one up. Let's make sure all my tails are straight. Make sure your tails are straight, at least for your photos. It just looks so much nicer. It looks clean. It looks professional. It's like a freshly ironed shirt. And that's kind of the appearance we're giving our wreaths, because we want it to look fresh. Get these ones on the outside. Sometimes it gets a little hard to reach on the very top. Okay, let's put it up, see what it looks like on the door. This is your standard outside door. So this is a 36-inch door. Make sure when you're photographing your wreaths, if you're selling them to be used outside, you try to photograph them on an actual 36-inch door. Interior doors are a lot smaller, so it gives the illusion the wreath is bigger. And you don't want a customer to say, well, when I look at this picture, and then when I look at this picture on my door, this looks so much bigger than what it looks like on my door. And you can't really go back and say, well, if you would have read the description said it was 25 inches. People just look at pictures. I mean, when we shop, we're looking at photos. We might go back in and read reviews or descriptions to find out the dimensions, but you kind of want to give your customer a good idea of this is what it's going to look like on a standard outside door. So if you don't have one, look into like OfferUp or Craigslist or someone who happens to have an old door on the outside. Add some wheels to the bottom, paint one side white, paint the other side black. Then you have two different backdrops to photograph your wreaths on an actual outdoor door. You can roll it into your garage, and then when it comes time to take pictures, roll up your garage door, shoot your photo, you know, with your door backdrop, and then you're good. And do you guys have any questions at all that I can answer for you? Other than that, I will see you guys Sunday at 6 Pacific, which is 8 Central or 9 Eastern time for our final live for 2021. I'll try to make sure that we have a really awesome design planned for you. Private group, I will see you on Sunday, a little bit earlier in the day at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you like this wreath and want to purchase it, it is available on my website. I encourage you to always shop the website over the Etsy shop because the prices are lower on the website than they are on Etsy. So start there if you're going to shop. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, that you finish up all your Christmas shopping, and I will talk to you guys then. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for joining me.